Hello dear viewer, and welcome to the broken Expanse. Today we'll be delving into 3 pictures with unsettling backgrounds, a bit of a shake-up on the usual deep dives we go through on this channel. So turn out the lights, sit back, and let's get into today's video. Our first image is of Patricia Mann and Jesse McBane. Patricia, a 20-year-old nursing student at Watts Hospital in Durham, and Jesse, a 19-year-old freshman at North Carolina State University. This picture was the last one taken of the pair alive. It was the 12th of February 1971, and the couple were about to attend a Valentine's dance being held on the campus of Watts University. Jesse had left from his parents' home in northern Chatham County to meet with Patricia and accompany her to where the dance was being held. As far as anyone knows, it was a normal night, full of fun and flirting, as one can imagine. Then at approximately 11:30 p.m, the two left the dance, and Patricia signed out of her dorm at the hospital, which, due to the occasion, had been extended from midnight until 1 a.m. They drove off in Jesse's car and parked in a nearby lane, known to young lovers in the area as somewhere to spend some private time together. And although no houses had yet been built, a number of cul-de-sacs had already been shaped into the area. It was an unwritten rule that the nurses would take their boyfriends there, and if numerous couples ended up there at the same time, then they'd drive to the next cul-de-sac as to make sure everyone had their own privacy. So far, everything seems fairly typical. But come the following morning, it became apparent that Patricia had in fact not returned the previous evening. This was widely out of character for her, as she was known for following the rules and acting responsibly. It also seemed unusual, as Jesse seemed, by all accounts, to be a stand-up guy, friendly and trustworthy. It goes without saying then that something seemed amiss. After calling around looking for reports of traffic collisions, etc., but coming up empty-handed, some of Patricia's co-workers went looking for the pair, and of course, the first place they checked were the cul-de-sacs. It was here that they found Jesse's car, abandoned, yet with the pair's coats and other effects still laying in the back of the vehicle. It was at this point that the Durham and Orange County Police became involved. The initial line of thought was that perhaps the couple had eloped, but after several days, nothing seemed to add up. And while there was, at this time, no proof of any foul play, it was becoming the forethought to most, that this was becoming a homicide investigation. For a little over 2 weeks, the police were searching frantically for the pair, and following up on any and every lead that they could get hold of. But then, on the 25th of February, a surveyor working in a woodland area along a dirt lane saw something unusual in a pile of leaves. As he approached, he saw what he believed to be mannequins. Upon further investigation, though, it was the dead bodies of both Patricia and Jesse, with thick rope tied in knots around their heads and hands. Both had been strangled to death in a fashion in which they had been hauled up and let back down before being hauled up again repeatedly. There were also trough marks in the dirt where the two had been kicking and flailing. There were no signs of theft, nor any sexual assault. And while the police did initially have a number of suspects, to this date, no one knows who killed them or why. This is Travis Victor Alexander, born on the 28th of July, 1977. At the time of this photograph, he was 30 years old. It would also be the last picture of him ever taken. This is less a mystery as we know what happened, but I felt it needed to be included nonetheless. On the evening of the 4th of June, 2008, Travis was brutally murdered by his on-again, off-again girlfriend, Jodi Arias. His closest friends had called the police to have him declared missing after neither they nor his boss or colleagues were able to contact him. They were particularly worried as he had confided in them previously how his ex-girlfriend was stalking him hacking his Facebook account and slashing the tires to his car. And thus they feared even more so for his safety. By the time the authorities had arrived, he had sustained 27 stab wounds, a slit throat, and a gunshot wound to the head. The medical examiner asserted that his jugular vein, common carotid artery, and trachea had all been slashed, and that he had numerous defensive wounds on his hands. The truly disturbing thing about this picture, however, is not only that it was Travis's last photo, but that it is believed that it was taken by Jody, just moments before murdering him. Some photo experts even say that you can see the outline of Jody in the reflection of Travis's eyes, along with what some speculate to be a bladed weapon. For me, what makes this photo particularly haunting is the true look of terror in Travis's face. This is Tyler Hadley. Now, this is a little different from the previous two entries, as this individual is indeed still alive. However, it's what he did that is disturbing. Tyler, like most teenagers, decided to throw a party while his parents weren't around, to say otherwise. He made a post on Facebook about the event that would be taking place that evening. In all, about 60 people attended the gathering. It was, as most teenage house parties go, fairly normal. Underage drinking, smoking, just general fun and lightheartedness. However, something sinister had taken place. Why were Tyler's parents not there, you wonder? Did they go out of town? Perhaps a family emergency or a business trip? No, nothing so average. Tyler had in fact bludgeoned them both to death with a claw hammer and locked their bodies in the master bedroom. Shortly before 5 p.m, Tyler had taken both of his parents' mobile phones and then ingested 3 ecstasy pills. He then walked to stand behind his mother while she was busy working on the family computer. It was at this point he pulled the hammer from behind him and began repeatedly beating her with it. Hearing the screams, Tyler's father ran from the bedroom, at which point the pair stood, locking eyes for a moment, before Tyler rushed his father and proceeded to do to him as he had just done to his mother. He then dragged both bodies to the master bedroom and spent the following 3 hours scrubbing the blood off the floor before hosting his party. Towards the end of the night, Tyler took his best friend Michael to one side and told him what he had done. Michael scoffed at the idea, not believing that his friend could do something like that. It was at this point that Tyler pointed out that both of his parents' cars were still in the driveway. He then escorted him to the master bedroom, unlocked the door, and showed him the aftermath of his brutal actions. Michael, shocked at this, knew he had to alert the authorities, but out of love for his friend, took one last picture with him, thinking it would be the last time that they would have the opportunity to do so. Tyler was arrested the following day and is currently serving 2 consecutive life sentences, narrowly escaping the death penalty, due to him only being 17 at the time of the crime. To think that that evening, he not only ended his parents' lives, but his own as well. And that is all we have for today's video. As I said, I'm trying something a bit different today, as I want to expand and have different series to fit all of your tastes. Let me know in the comments what you thought, and don't forget, if you enjoyed this video, or found it interesting, maybe you just feel like spreading some love and positivity too, don't forget to click that like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget the little bell notification icon. It really means a lot. Take care, everyone, and don't stray too far from the path, lest you end up in the broken Expanse.